Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Season 3, Week 14 of DC Sports Digest. Wasn't the greatest week in DC Sports this week, but there's still a lot to talk about. So without further ado, let's just get started. Starting with the Nats, they made a few smaller moves before I'll talk about the big move they made. They signed pitcher Trevor Gott to a minor league deal. They also were finally able to avoid arbitration with Cade Cavalli, so everyone on the Nats has avoided arbitration. They claimed Mickey Gasper off waivers. And the big move was they traded Mackenzie Gore to the Rangers for Gavin Feen, Alejandro Rosario, Devin Fitzgerald, Yermy Carrera, and Abimelec Ortiz. They are all top 20 prospects from the Rangers. So at first when I saw this news, I was really upset. It's just sad to trade your best player and really just kind of start a rebuild again. I feel like that's really what this move is telling me. And it also tells me that other star players may be on the chopping block. I would say the only untouchable player for the Nats right now is probably James Wood. Anyone else and everyone else could probably be traded, which is kind of unfortunate. We just start a rebuild again, but hopefully it'll actually work out this time. And it's probably better than staying mediocre again and winning 17 games. But the good thing about this is we got 5 prospects. We sold Mackenzie Gore at his highest point. He may not have been as good next year. I mean, he still would have been good, but I think this is the most we're going to get out of Mackenzie Gore, the most prospects, and we got a lot of them. So hopefully these guys will eventually pan out, and it will be looked at similar to the Soto trade, which we got Mackenzie Gore from. So yeah, that was some big news, and hopefully it'll pan out. Based on that trade, we claimed pitcher Gus Varlin off waivers to take his spot. We also DFA'd Riley Adams, which is fine because we got Harry Ford earlier in the offseason, and we have enough catchers anyway. So yeah, that's all I have for the Nats. A very busy week for them. Hopefully these moves will all work out. On the Wizards, they lost all 3 games this week, and they're actually back to last place in the whole league, which is good, I guess, for our tanking. Losing to the Nuggets twice and to the Clippers. They're all actually pretty close games. We had chances to win, I think, almost all of them. Keyshawn George had a really good week this week. He had 29 in the first loss to the Nuggets and had a double-double in the second loss. And Sarr had 28 in the loss to the Clippers. So some pretty solid performances. Played really competitive, but unfortunately lost these games. But I guess it's good for our tanking. We'll see if it ends up working out with the draft lottery, but that's a long ways away. This week we have games versus the Hornets, Blazers, Bucks, and Lakers. That's all I have for the Wizards. On to the Caps. They beat the Flames, lost to the Panthers, Avalanche, and Canucks. It was a really bad week for the Caps. They finally got a win last night against the Flames. Chychrun had 2 in the loss to the Panthers. And then we blew a 2-0 lead to the worst team in the league, the Vancouver Canucks, which was really sad. And yeah, it was not really looking good. But John Crosby reached 600 career assists, so congrats to him. And then finally last night, we actually got a win versus the Flames, which was much needed. This team really is not looking super good this year. I think they should really just start to sell and do a mini rebuild as we wait for our prospects, because at this point in this form, this team is not going anywhere or doing anything. Maybe they get to the first round of the playoffs, but again, what's the point of being mediocre? I feel like this team might as well rebuild. They have the prospects in a couple of years to be back to a top team that they've been these last 10 or 15 years. But coming this week, we have games versus the Oilers, Kraken, and Red Wings. Some tough games, so let's see what we can do and see what direction we should go. That's all I have for the Caps. On to the Commanders. I just listed all the other people we had interviewed for defensive coordinator. We still haven't made a decision yet. The 2 new people we interviewed were Bears defensive backs coach Al Harris and Steelers defensive coordinator Terrell Austin. Both solid options. I think my option right now is still Carl Scott. Brian Flores got a contract with the Vikings, so he's either staying as the Vikings defensive coordinator or he's being a head coach. So he is not an option anymore. All these other guys, I think, are still options. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. It could be a little longer to wait till we find our new defensive coordinator, but I will let you guys know when we have that. And then we named Darnell Stapleton as our offensive line coach and Shane Toom as our assistant offensive line coach. Both seem like solid guys for pretty important position coaches. And that's all I have for the Commanders. Not much other DC sports news. DC's Defenders released their schedule. Their first game is March 28th. And Washington Spirit extended their best player, Trinity Rodman, which is great to see. That's all I have for other DC sports news. My weekly awards, my game of the week is going to the Caps beating the Flames 3-1. Only victory for DC sports this week, unfortunately. My player of the week, Keyshawn George, had 22 points per game this week in 3 games. That was great to see. And not really any team of the week, as like I said, we only got 1 win this week. So that's all I have for this video. So thanks for watching. Check out the Instagram. I also made a YouTube short if you want to hear more about the Mackenzie Gore trade. And yeah, that's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching and like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Bye.